Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Tosh Taylor.
I'm Jenna Martin, and if you're watching us, you already know that we are on location at the beautiful Capitol Theater that has just had some serious renovations we're going to chat about, as well as all their upcoming fun things to discover. And to do that, we are joined by the Managing Director, Kim Rayworth.
Good morning. Thanks so much for dropping by.
Yeah, well, we're very happy to be here. And you look so far away in these brand new seats, but you're really just a row behind us.
In these spacious, beautiful, plush new seats.
They are lovely. Anyone who's been to the Capitol knows that it's an older theater.
The theater's 101 years old now.
Whoa.
So it is older. The seats weren't 100 years old, but the building is 100 years old. The seats were 31 years old.
And now they are brand new.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's been a project that's really received a lot of attention and excitement in the community. We were kind of taken aback, honestly, by it, that to what extent the community really cares about the building, cares about the heritage value of the building. There's so many memories and time spent here over the years. You know, a lot of people have memories of the theater as a movie house in the 80s, remember,
Right.
70s, 60s even. A lot of people remember that really dark time, depressing time where it was thought that the building might be torn down at the end of the 80s, early 90s. There was talk that maybe the building would be demolished.
Really?
Probably for more parking in the downtown. And, so it was in 93 that the building was restored. New seats were placed at that time. And, fast forward 31 years later, it was the negative rating we were receiving the most often in our post-show surveys, where people said, great show, had a great time, fantastic staff, especially the managing director. But my God, the seats are terrible and I may never come back. Before the pandemic, we spoke to our board, talked to our funders and said, look, this is really what we're perceiving to be a barrier to continued growth and success here. And we'd like to find the money and change the seats.
Okay.
And I love that they still look very similar when you walk in the room. It doesn't immediately look a lot different. More modern.
Thank you. Yes, a lot of people had expressed that concern that we not modernize the hall. That was, like I said, restored in 93. So the fresks and the painting that you see, that was the work of designers David and Patty Hanavan in the 90s. They had come here from Toronto and had trained local artisans to reproduce what would have been here in 1926 when the theater was built.
No.
So we have quite a sense of responsibility for this built heritage. It's an important cultural asset in the downtown. So we really wanted to pay homage to the work that was done in 93, that really is a restoration of the work of 1926, which was the work of a theater designer called Emmanuel Briffa, who worked in the country quite a lot. And when the Hanavans came in 93, they said, we've never seen such an ornate theater in the country. So there are some of this vintage that are still operating, but we're really, really, we work every day at the service, if you want, of the building, and we really value its history. So when we changed the seats, the old seats had quite an ornate end aisle. It was made out of metal and it was quite fancy, if you want. And because of the funding announcement, the timing of the funding announcement and the time we had to get the project done, there wasn't time to reproduce anything that ornate. So what we did create was a medallion. It's a circle and it goes and finds little elements. It's kind of like a little Easter egg hunt of things that you'll see in the hall. So there's some of the stenciling work that I mentioned that was Briffa's work from the 20s. And then there's also a C, which is not our logo that as it's found today, but it's the C that can be found in the top of the chandelier, which is original from the 20s. So really wanted to bring back that those winks to the history of the theater and to not wreck it.
Yeah.
Someone said, I'm glad they're not blue and plastic. I'm like, well, no, that was never considered.
No.
But I understand that there was a fear and there's such an attachment to the building. Yeah.
Now, there is a bit of plastic and
They're metal.
Are they metal?
They're
They
metal.
are metal.
They are metal.
Okay, so these are cup holders, my friend, and this is also very important if you've been to show here, because how do you clap with your drink in your hand?
How do you clap? And it was messy.
Yes, that too.
Yeah, it was one of my first decisions when I became the manager in 2015 to allow drinks in the hall. And for years, we didn't allow that. We were afraid it was going to trash the place. And it really wasn't too bad, but sometimes it wasn't great, depending on the show and the audience. But this will go a long way to keeping the place clean. And of course, it's part of a kind of a public experience now to have a beverage, and you should have somewhere to place it. We weren't able to install them on the second level, though, because the balcony is we're dealing with existing conditions that the rows, we didn't widen the rows, so the rows still remain on the smaller side, and there was no place to put cup holders upstairs. But yes, these are metal. They could be stood on, someone could stand on them, but I really hope they don't.
Please do
She's
not.
not
Or they will
a
be
challenge.
banned. No, this is not a cup holder stand challenge. No.
To that point, I was just wondering, did you widen the aisles down here in the main section?
Yeah.
Because it feels wider coming in.
Roomier. Yes,
Mhm.
this whole seating plan on the main floor has changed. In the before times, there was a center
an
aisle
aisle.
here. So this has been filled in, and this respects present day building codes, and it's what permitted us to not see too many seats lost. We went from 780 to 772. So that's really fantastic. And you're right, each seat is it, well, not each seat is a different size. There are 5 different seat widths, and that's required to make an arc in a row. Yeah, they range from about 20 inches to 24 inches. So again, a bit of an Easter egg hunt there to find the widest seat, if that is really important to you. We're not putting that forward, I guess. We haven't published a map with the different seat widths, but if people do have a need for a larger seat, we have what we call bariatric chairs. So there's seats that are much, much wider than these, and they're placed on the, we created a new platform there where you can have that seat placed in lieu of a regular chair, and people call into the box office to reserve that seat. And this is the same area where we place the wheelchairs. So we went from being able to have 4 wheelchairs to up to 10 wheelchairs with a guest accompanying that person. And or we could use bariatric chairs. So all of these different measures were undertaken to increase accessibility. We also received seats in the first row for people that would have a visual impairment but could enjoy the performance more if they could feel the vibrations, or they may not be completely blind but could, have some sight. So we have 4 seats reserved in the front row for that purpose. Of course, service animals are welcome. We have booster seats for children. We have hearing aid devices to amplify the sound, a drop-off zone. And we're always open to suggestions to continue to improve that patron experience and accessibility.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Just think of all those little elements that most people don't notice if you're just walking in and you don't require any of that.
Exactly.
You're not looking for it, but you don't see it necessarily.
Exactly.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, we're working hard to put that forward. There's a panel in our At a Glance brochure where we're speaking about those efforts that we're taking to reduce barriers for people to attending. We also have accessibility programs through different service organizations where if you're a member of certain community groups, not-for-profits, you could access complimentary tickets. So always looking for ways to increase people's ability to attend a performance here.
Excellent, excellent. And speaking of upcoming performances, there is a big one that we're very excited about. Can we talk a bit about what's coming next for the theater?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a whole season that has just begun here since we reopened on September 29th. So we, the Capitol Theatre, will be presenting about 50 artists this year. That's where we make sure that the community has a chance to see programming from all genres, all performing arts discipline styles, so circus, variety, music, theater, dance, all kinds of art like that we bring to Moncton. So we'll be spending about $500,000 in artist fees there. That's where we fulfill our mandate to be a presenter venue in Atlantic Canada. And then in addition to that, we hope to rent the hall as often as possible and to be full and sold out all the time. And then another big part of our business in the last 7 or 8 years is that we produce a major winter musical production. So we have announced the title coming February 21st, I think is opening night, will be The Addams Family. And we'll be making cast announcements, go on sale. We'll announce all of that on Halloween.
Oh, perfect.
Timing is everything. And then tickets go on sale on November 1st to our members, and then to mere mortals on November 8th. They'll be able to buy tickets to The Addams Family. That'll take place February 20th. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Over the past years, we've seen that a lot of families have bought tickets to our other musicals. We've produced The Sound of Music, The Wizard of Oz, Beauty and the Beast. Last year was The Little Mermaid.
Which was spectacular.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we all felt we needed a bit of a palate cleanser from the Disney princesses to a degree. We know that really met with wide audience appeal, and that was great. And we loved seeing families and children and grandparents and people from all walks of life, of course, attending that. But we thought this year we wanted to put out a different kind of program where, the central theme to that musical is asking, what does it mean to be normal? and you have this family of people that are considered abnormal and not typical, and the Wednesday falls in love with a normal boy, and you see these cultures collide. And we just thought it was like a good time to bring that subject and the conversation to the community, and to just, like I say, take a break from Disney princesses, and hoping to appeal to maybe those tweens and children that we really want the theater to be a part of everyone's life in this community, of course, and to do all that we can to just mix up the offer a bit and see if we can attract new audiences.
Yeah, because we want it to be around for another 100 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about renewal.
Yeah, exactly. I know my tween, she has actually had the chance to perform here a couple of times with plays with school and what have you, and then class trips.
Yeah.
And one of her favorite, she talks about the Easter eggs every time she comes home. Like, you guys, that must be like a thing.
Well,
that, like,
yeah.
we've got hidden things everywhere here in the Capitol, and there's a big picture in the lobby of like the performers.
Yeah.
And she's friends with Chris Colpaw's daughter, and
Oh,
she's like, "There's Chris."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You can't see Chris in that picture." And then there's that interactive board with it.
Yes.
She's like, "Yep, do pulls him up. There he is." Like,
That
okay.
is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like, we want the community to continue to discover things
Mhm.
about this. It's such a treasure in this community that's been here for such a long time. And, as people that just get to work here every day, we're so glad that in the early 90s, the councils of the day made that commitment. They've held their commitment to the organization. All these years later, they continue to provide that core operation funding that permits us to book those shows a year in advance. But yeah, we want the community to continue to discover those little factoids or historical ideas about what this place has meant to the community as a gathering space in the downtown, where we have celebrated the arts, and we've got that great board upstairs, that interactive display that was installed during our 100th anniversary. So we had a lot of hoopla there. And now we have hoopla about the seats. So I don't know, we got to think about the next hoopla. What are we going to do?
Well, I have no doubt it's going to be amazing.
We shall see.
Another thing that you have here, along with the history, a lot of buildings with a lot of history, have some supernatural history as well. And I know that's a big part of the story that's shared a lot about the Capitol. And given the time of year, we thought, why not, for the people who haven't heard, introduce them to the other residents of the Capitol?
Yes, well, we do have a resident ghost here. His name is Alexander, nicknamed Sandy Lindsay. So he's the only firefighter in the history of the city of Moncton to have lost his life battling a blaze. So on March 26th, 1926, he perished, not too far from where we're seated now. It is reported in the clippings that we found, the archival newspaper reports. He died battling that blaze that began in the Empress and then spread to the Capitol Theater, which is our adjoining theater here, and lost his life. And that was, really terrible. And of course, it was, a sad part of the Moncton Firefighters Society's history. They've not forgotten Lindsay. They speak about him. He's commemorated, and we have an exhibit as part of our 100th display here that speaks about him and his service, and paid his sacrifice in trying to save the building. So his presence has been documented by many paranormal experts. If people have interest, they could go online and search different platforms. YouTube definitely has videos where they've come in here and tried to really find proof that he is here. Several members of our staff share stories of having different experiences at different times. I, one year between Christmas and New Year's, I had put my hand up to come and check the building. We tend to do that if we're not going to be here for a few days in a row in case there should be a leak, just, if the building is abandoned. So I came in with, I was dog sitting Marshall Button's dog, Norman. He was such a good dog. We had great times together sharing hummus and popcorn. And we came in one, it was a dark, really quiet, dreary morning between Christmas and New Year. And, it's not, it can be kind of a creepy building to be here by yourself alone. So that's why I brought Norm.
Right, well, clearly.
So we were going around the building and checking all the bathrooms and toilets and sinks. And holy jumpins, we were up in the balcony, and I could so hear and feel someone running in the stairs above me. And it really sounded like big, heavy fireman boots running in the steps above me, and like the balcony got shaking a bit. and Norm's ears went down, his hair went up, I got chills, and we didn't check the rest of the bathrooms. Like, we got out here so fast. So that was my, like, kind of, I felt he was here. And whenever I talk about Sandy, I picture him, I'm going to cry. I picture him being really glad that we continue to come here and that we get to spend time together. Such a zap. But, I just think, like, it's been such a place in the community for such a long time, and he's that fil continu, he's that presence that has been here all along. So I think he's really happy when people come here. So he's not here to scare us away. He's happy we're here, and I really believe in him.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think it's just a memory that we've had this chance. Like, think of the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have come to this venue, like, and he's been here that whole time.
Yeah.
When you were talking before about the dark time when it was at risk.
Yeah.
And
that makes me cry.
I bet.
I think that's part of why the community cares so much.
I agree.
Is not just the built heritage, but also that connection.
I
to
agree.
Sandy and to the stories that live here. And as someone who didn't grow up in Moncton, but grew up on the East Coast, I remember that. I remember hearing about the reopening of the capital.
Yes.
And what a huge win this was for Moncton and for the community, and what fabulous things were living 6 hours away.
Yeah. No, it really was a testament to, like, a lot of people really fought and worked very hard to get the funds to repurpose the building. There was there was not 100% agreement that this building could be turned into a performing arts center. It had operated for so long as a cinema. So to bring in the equipment and to repurpose the fly and the rigging and, things that you don't consider when you're trying to save a building that you need to operate as a performing arts venue, and then want to be a state-of-the-art performing arts venue. And, we are really proud. We call ourselves the Massey Hall of New Brunswick. We really have the ability to welcome every national and international touring artist. The one thing that might put us out of presenting some acts would be the size of our stage is not huge. That's something that is known by all. It's only 30 to 40. It's 30 feet wide by 40, and that's it. Like, that would be the only barrier. We have 800 seats almost. So if you're an artist that can play to that kind of house, this is where you should be playing in southeastern New Brunswick. So I think you're right, Jen. I think it's the almost not having this that creates such a sense of gratitude for it being here. And 31 years later, it's in such good shape. It was built at a time before there were bad building practices at play. So there's no asbestos in the building. There's no mold. It was built to last, the construction, and we could have a whole podcast just about that. So just that we're dealing with a building that's in such excellent quality, and that there are such great programs and funders that continue to believe in the need for this type of building, and continue to invest so that we could complete projects like we just did. This was $1 million renovation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny to say renovation when we kind of just changed the seats, did the floor, carpet, railings, and painted. And there was $8,000 worth of cleaning that a lot of people are noticing. Like, people are saying, "Oh, I love how you repainted the silver." It's like, nope, we just cleaned that. So, it was a big project, to renovate, but we did just spruce it up to a degree. So now we'll be looking at more investments in the coming years that'll be far less public facing, like just having a roof and HVAC systems. But
important
in the
things.
last 30 years, we've invested like $7 million beyond the initial $4 million that it took to get the place going. But I think that's such a good point. I think the community realizes that we are so incredibly lucky to have this built heritage, that we have this place to come together in the celebration of artists, and that artists really make this a stop on their tours. Like, we hear that over and over again from artists that come in, that it's one of the most beautiful halls to play in. The staff's incredible. Our equipment's really state of the art. So we really feel like we're at that place in the capital's history where we could really have any artist on our stage.
I agree. And I think that what you're talking about shows in when you pulled the old seats out.
Yeah.
Like, how quickly.
Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Oh,
They were gone.
They were gone in
everybody
2 hours.
Take it 2 hours.
I was so surprised. I'm like, hey, but remember, like, no takesies, backsies. Like, they're banged up, they're full of gum, and you all said they weren't comfortable, and that's why we were getting new ones. So,
And now you want them in your house.
but exactly, and people were like, no, but this is a part of history, and I was like, right? Like, I was so happy, and they didn't go to a landfill. Like,
Right.
we've heard about a lot of other big venues and places in Canada. So that was such a great story.
So like 800 seats.
Yeah.
And they're all dispersed.
They're all dispersed.
Except for a couple of, there's two of them out.
Those are
Oh.
from 26.
Oh,
Those are the
originals.
OGs. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And that's what we based these on, was that we brought the fabric as brighter red to match the ones that were here in 26. The ones that were here in 93 were a little more burgundy and mahogany-ish. So yeah, we inspired ourselves from the original seats, and yeah, they're dispersed. There are some that went out in a few chunks. Like, there was a hall up north took about 75,
Okay.
and there's a daycare operator that took a good bunch, 50 or 60, 50 or
Cool.
60. Yeah, we were like, just great, have at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're yours.
It was so surprising that we then didn't want to have people be disappointed. So some people had come with big trucks and vans. So to kind of give people a chance, we said, look, we're only going to give them in fours, and go to the back of the line and come back. And people stood in line for the second round. Like, it was just wild. It was wild.
I
It was
love
like
that.
a festival atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was really great. So
That
glad.
is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. We need to wrap up the show today, but I do have a couple of questions about how people can support the theater.
Yes.
You said about being a member.
Yes.
And then here on the new seats, I am noticing there's some spots for plaques.
Yes.
So
There's about 120 that have already been named. So people can make a donation for a full tax receipt for the sum of $350 on the main floor for a seat, or two for $600, and on the balcony level for $250, or two for $400. You can place a plaque. You can put your name on it, your dog's name on it. People have been putting plaques in honor of loved ones, their companies, as long as it's not really inappropriate. You can place up to 35 characters on a plaque. And those funds raised will go to fund future capital improvement projects. So yeah, that's a great way to support the theater in its upcoming renovations. And as you mentioned, yes, our membership program is more of it's a benefit program. And what people love the most or appreciate the most about the program is the first, it's the pre-sale. So when our tickets go on sale to the Adams family on November 1st to members, you get first crack at those tickets. You get a small discount on our performances. The performances that the Capitol presents. If you get the membership at the $50 level, $49, you get a drink for every ticket you buy. So if you buy 4 or 5 tickets, you've already paid for your membership.
Yeah.
Membership is good for 1 year, and you get an invitation to our season launch where you get to find out about all of the programming for upcoming the next season. So it's been a really successful program. We right now have 1,700 household members, which is huge. And I will say, though that number sounds large, that's running at about the same amount as last year, but we've just started our season. We've not found that we're not able to offer a very good service to our members because not everybody wants to see the same thing. Everybody has different tastes, and we have 800 seats. So we have managed to offer a good quality service to the members, and we've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years now. There's 5 different levels of service that you can find out about, but the box office can help you with that, or you can find out more about that online, capital.nb.ca.
Perfect.
And I'm just going to give a shout out to you. You guys also have awesome Pay What You Can programming scattered throughout the year. There's so much accessibility, financial as well as physical.
Yeah, it's really important for us to try to reduce those barriers. You mentioned a school matinee a while ago. We had a bunch of kids in here on Monday for a fantastic hoop dance from some amazing Indigenous artists from Toronto. We offer school bus subsidies because we know that that's a barrier for the districts to bring the kids in. So yeah, we're always looking for ways to improve that. And as a way to take the community to the Capitol to the community, we have a very active outreach program that's managed through the Capitol Theatre Academy, where we offer theater classes to youth in the region. Yeah, I think your kids are alumni. And we also run summer camps.
Okay.
Yeah, so lots of
going
things
on.
going
Yeah.
on here.
You gotta come check it out. If people want to follow you on social media, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram.
We're at Capital Moncton. We also have a great mascot. Kevin is
We love Kevin.
he's our way to tell the community that we are a warm and inviting space where all should feel welcome. He's got a great TikTok account. He's at Kevin Capital. He's always doing fun stuff. And yeah, so we'd love feedback. We'd love to see people. It really is our greatest pleasure here to do all this worky work during the day, but to see the 800 people coming through the door in the evening is so rewarding and so much fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure that Sandy loves every second of it. So
oh my God.
Let's keep filling the
I just
seats
stopped
for him.
crying. Let's stop talking. He must be really here with me right now.
He must
He's
be
glad that you asked about him.
Yeah. I had to know the whole story. You know, there's lots of rumors about him. So
there's so much online you can find out about him. Honestly, I encourage people.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for letting us come in and see the brand new seats and just sharing the history of such an amazing place.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. And thank you for listening and watching, and we'll be back next week.